I am joined with two-time NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, radio color commentator for the Celtics, and host of the Cedric Maxwell podcast, Cedric Maxwell. Thank you for coming on with me today.
Well, thank you for having me on this gray, blustery day here in Boston right now.
Yeah, no, it's kind of gloomy where I am too. So,
Where are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
No, okay, yeah, you got the same weather we get.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So before I, begin asking you questions, how's quarantine life treating you? How are you doing?
Quarantine life is like anybody else. I think that what we have is we're just different. I was thinking about that today. I think our personal hygienes have gone down because I think we have to think about like, man, did I take a shower?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I took a shower. Then you go, well, no, I didn't take a shower yesterday, so I got to take one today because You're not going out to see anybody. So I think that part of our life has changed. But other than that, you're just staying in and not being connected with people. To me, is eerie because I'm so used to being connected with people on the street here in Boston and just looking around in general.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Something we're gonna have to kind of get used to.
I'll be happy when we're over and we can get back to something normal or find a vaccine or whatever we're gonna do. Let's do something because this period right now is not fun.
Yeah, it's definitely different and something to get adjusted to. But going into my first question, Cedric, what a resume you have, and for all the listeners out there, what really motivated you to become successful to the point where you are today?
I've always been driven. I have a father and mother and personal stories that go way back. My mother was a basketball player I was competitive in my neighborhood. We moved around. My father was in the military. So I was able to see a lot of the world, but still have the same kind of hometown values and just a work ethic of and then just, personally, I just like having fun. I like connecting with people. I always think that I'm very easygoing. So my persona and being in radio and television now fits who I am as a person because I'm always connecting with people. And I think my best quality I always said with anything I do is I make people very comfortable. That's the best quality I have. So I will have the homeless people here in Boston right now coming up and telling me stories, as well as the governor of the state of Massachusetts will tell me, like, you're not the tallest person in this building. So I connect with a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Especially connecting with people and networking and also making people comfortable. I mean, I'm very comfortable talking to you right now, so that's absolutely great.
Well, that is, again, that's my gift. And I think that's why I am good at doing interviews with people, being interviewed or interviewing people. And that is what really has resonated in the last couple of months, especially with me starting to do the podcast. And I did a podcast with Ray Allen that really was good. I just did one with Doc Rivers. So a lot of different people I've connected with.
And not to mention, your number 31 is retired for the Celtics. I mean, that's a very big honor, especially with a team like the Celtics. How important is that to you?
Well, anytime you're part of history now. Anytime you're going into the Garden, and I don't care if you're going in there for a show, if you're going in there for a convention, whatever it is, your number is up in the rafters. It's been retired. So that is, I don't know if it's important, but to me, it's an honor. And I think about guys that, my jersey is retired with all the thousands of guys who probably played with the Celtics, that I would be one of those 20 guys that has been picked out as, like one of the most important people.
And I went to a Celtics game late in January, and just looking up at the rafters, that's really powerful. As a Boston fan, to see all the numbers and all the 17 banners up there, it's amazing.
It really is, and it was really funny. And I remember Ray Allen. They were talking about trading Ray Allen to,
Mhm.
um, I think it was Memphis, and it was OJ Mayo, and he's he said, and the trade didn't go through, and he said, I don't give a damn about all them banners up there. And this is a guy who hasn't been around or been in that situation. It was a little bit crazy to me, and naive of what goes on in this league, and for you to just slap it to the side, that to me is a little foolish.
And, backtracking a little bit back to your college days at UNC Charlotte, your college teammates nicknamed you Cornbread. Where did that come from?
Well, it was kind of a crazy story. We played in the NIT in
Mhm.
1976, the National Invitational Tournament in New York. First time any of us had really been in a big city. And reporters were talking to me, and my friend said there was a movie called Cornbread Earl and Me that the former teammate of mine later on, Jamal Wilkes, who played for the Lakers, was in.
Mhm.
And he was in this movie with Larry Fishburne, and he was a basketball player. He was very slim, like myself. And my friend saw this movie and they said, "You look like that guy named Cornbread." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I ended up seeing the movie, and then they were teasing me in front of some reporters at the NIT. And the reporters were talking to me because I was a big cheese. And then they said, one of my teammates said, "Oh, you're talking to Cornbread." And some reporters like, what'd you say? Cornbread. And then he wrote it down, Cornbread Maxwell. And that's how it happened. It's really funny because later on I did a movie with Dr. J called The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And when I did that movie, later on they sent me a check, and the check had cornbread Maxwell on it. You can't cash a check with cornbread on it. You can't take it to the bank. So it was really funny that how that happened, and that was how that nickname started.
Do you even like cornbread? Is that one of your favorite
No,
foods? No.
no, that's not even my favorite food of mine. And when we played in NIT, we did really well, and we came back to Charlotte,
Mhm.
and we were the runners up. But people were so excited about our school getting in that there was about 5,000 people at the airport waiting for us. And this black woman comes up, somebody's grandma comes up and shoves this big plate of cornbread in my face. And I had to hold the people taking pictures. I was like, it was surreal. It was surreal.
That's absolutely amazing. That's a great story. And going back to your NBA career, you played with so many great people alongside you in your career. Who would you say is one of your favorite teammates?
My favorite teammate probably would have been ML Carr,
Mhm.
because he and I were from the same, essentially from the same part of North Carolina, the east part of the state. I grew up, and I didn't know that much about him, but then once we kind of gravitated together, he just became a great friend. Robert Parrish is a great friend. Dennis Johnson, who passed away, was a great friend and a teammate. Now, I've always loved Larry and Kevin, but we just didn't have as much in common
Mhm.
because of who we were and how we grew up. Kevin grew up in Hibbing, Minnesota, out in the woods, and he used to tell me about how he would go, camping for 2 or 3 days, get in a canoe and row away from his house for like 2 or 3 days with no food. Like, and do what? He said, "Yeah, we catch it and we kill it and we eat it." I'm like, "What?" And then there was Danny, who was a Mormon and was great. And Larry Bird and I, we were great teammates, but we had nothing in common.
Mhm.
My life is outside of basketball. I like geography. I like human nature. I love all these different things. Larry Bird wasn't connected like that. His life was built around basketball, and mine went a little bit further than just playing the game.
You mentioned playing with Larry Bird and how you guys were kind of different off the court, but on the court, how was he like a leader on that Celtics team?
Well, I think he led by example. He didn't talk that much.
Mhm.
He left all the talking to myself and ML and Kevin, Danny. We did all the talking. But he did it by example. You know, I always tell people the first time I played against Larry Bird I was going to my third year in the NBA. And my second year, I averaged like 19 points and almost 10 rebounds a game. So I thought I was the big cheese. And Larry Bird comes in the first day of practice, and I'm on the stanchion. I'm giving that slow clap to him, and like, okay, here he comes, the great white hope. Oh my God, yeah, whatever. Please save us. And got out on the court with Larry, and learned at that time about not about respecting a player not for his color, but what he could do. And Larry knocked it. I was giving it to Larry. Larry was giving it to me. But I remember after practice, the first black person I could get to, I walked over to him and said, "You know what? That damn white guy can play." And that's how my introduction was to Larry Bird.
That's a great story, and one of those things where Larry Bird, a lot of people kind of undermine him for how great he really is, just because of an era of basketball that he really played in.
Yeah, I think his era was different. Somebody asked me the other day, if you put Larry Bird in the NBA right now, how he'd do. And I said, Larry Bird would be like Luka Doncic. He would be a better version of Luka. Everybody goes, "Oh, Luka's this." Larry Bird would be an upgrade to Luka. It'd be like you being in coach and then being in first class. So Larry would be like being in first class. As great as Luka is, I think Larry's game would fit into the modern style of the NBA that much more. Mm-hmm. Being a jump shooter, not really relying on a lot of quickness, but being smart and crafty. And I think that's what the new NBA player like. It's not about guys that had those skills. Larry was great around the rim, left-handed. He was a great rebounder, not a good defender, but he was smart so far as making steals. So I think Larry Bird would have translated well into the NBA today.
And Kendrick Perkins came out saying that Larry Bird is one of his top 5 small forwards of all time. Where would you rank him?
I think right in the era. We think about Larry Bird, of who he is as a player. Just ultimate warrior, a clutch shooter, leader by example. Just love the game, and I think would throw his body into places that I wouldn't even think about throwing my body into, trying to get a loose ball. And you've seen that repeatedly, when you see Larry Bird in different situations or making different plays.
Now, going into the current NBA and, with the hiatus that it's at right now, do you see it coming back at all this season?
It's going to be interesting. I talked to Doc Rivers on the other day on my podcast about that. And Doc Rivers just said, it's going to be very, very interesting about how they want to come back. I just think I just don't think that they're going to have a blank at the end of the season. I think that the NBA, they want to crown a champion. And I think what they're going to do is I think we're going to play in August. I believe we will. And then I think we'll finish the season in August and then start anew instead of October like we've had before in November. I think the games are going to start around Christmas and we'll go from Christmas until June. So they're going to probably reconfigure the way they play the game or in the schedule.
And with your championship experience, what advice would you give this current Celtics team when it comes to playoff time?
Well, I just think you have to believe in who you are. At the end of the day, you don't take prisoners. You play as hard as you can. You understand who you are. The Celtics have a great team. They have a lot of combinations they can throw at you. Jason Tatum coming into his own right now. You look at the way he played against the Lakers in L.A., and LeBron James was standing beside him. He said, that's a young lion right there. And so if you look at that, that's a compliment. Brown is going to be a great player. So there's so many combinations. Gordon Hayward, Kemba coming in, fitting with this team well. So I like what they've done this year with their team and their squad.
And the most recent Celtics championship came in 2008. Would you compare that team to your 81 or 84 championship team?
Yeah, I think I would. 84, yeah, I think I would compare it more to 84 because of the greatness of the players. And you look at three guys who are going to be Hall of Famers: Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. And you look at the team that we had during '84, you had 4 Hall of Famers: DJ, Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and Larry Bird. So there was a lot of great combinations. And then you had a lot of other good players. So I would think if I was comparing in my era, I would compare that team to my team in 1984 instead of the one in 1981 championship.
And out of that 2008 championship team, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett both have their numbers retired with the Celtics. Do you see Ray Allen being added to that list too?
You're from Connecticut, aren't you? I could tell that.
Yes, I am.
And then, yes, Ray, I'm one of those guys beating the drum. I think Ray Allen's number should be retired because it was the big 3. It wasn't the big 2. And they would not have won that championship if it had not been for Ray. Ray right now is going to go down, and I had him on a podcast. Ray is going to go down to me as one. He hit one of the greatest shots maybe in the history of the game, and it wasn't with the Celtics. We hit a lot of them with the Celtics, but the shot that he hit, to get Miami, and when they were playing San Antonio to tie that game up late, that was one of the most unbelievable plays you'd think or shots in the history of the game. For Ray Allen to get the ball, get a rebound, Bosh gets it, throws it to Ray. Ray goes back, dribbles back behind the line, never looks down at his feet, goes up and knocks this shot down. And then they have to go back and remember, said they're going back and said, we're going to have to look at on the replay to see if it actually was a 3. And clearly Ray's feet were there. I asked him about that shot, and he said muscle memory. He said, I've shot this shot, I've shot it thousands of times. So when he caught it, it was the rhythm, muscle memory, took him back to that spot, and he knocked down one of the greatest shots. So yes, to me, Ray Allen's jersey should be retired, along with Kevin McHale, along with Kevin, and along with Paul Pierce. To me, I've always said that should be the next number. There's a lot of bad feelings right now because Ray left. But I think at the end of the day, especially with this coronavirus, I think you start putting away the petty things now. And you start looking, I mean, even right now, you look at your house and things you have in your house, and you're going, man, I got all these suits I like to wear and these ties I like to wear. I can't wear them no place. I'm in the house. and all these things, these little things you see are trinkets. You're going, I really don't need these things. And so I just think that if at the end of the day, and when I talked to Doc Rivers about it, he said, you got 2 strong-willed people. Kevin was mad when Ray left going to Miami. But to me, Ray Allen was a free agent. And he had the right to go where he wanted to go. They were starting Avery Bradley. They went out and signed Jason Terry. And what Ray was doing, he was looking at the handwriting on the wall. He was saying, look, let me make a decision. So in hindsight, if you look back on Ray's decision, you go, that was a pretty good decision he made. He wins another championship. It's one of the greatest shots in the NBA, and he solidified his legacy already with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and I mean, the Celtics are going to run out of numbers soon, with all the numbers that they're going to be retiring.
Yeah, I mean, that goes when you win more championships than anybody else. I mean, that the guys that and I know there's sometimes people say, well, this number shouldn't be retired. As a matter of fact, it was a guy, was a reporter maybe about a month ago, and he was talking about me and talking about how my number shouldn't be retired. And I said, well, let me tell you why it is retired. I led the league in field goal percentage twice. I'm a 2-time champion. I'm a finals MVP. I still hold records right now with the Boston Celtics. I said, now put that in your damn pipe and smell it and smoke it and see what comes out. So it's almost laughable, but I can understand, that it's up to the team. You don't retire your own jersey; the team retires it.
Right.
So talk to them about it. Don't talk to me about it.
And greatness, that's one word for you is that you were great in your NBA career.
Well, there were things that happened, and I had some really great moments. I think that the thing that happens when you play with a guy like Larry Bird is that you're overshadowed by what you do because of his greatness. And if you are a good player on a team, somebody has to be the chief, and then there has to be other people. It has to be the tribe. I felt like I had to be the tribe, and that was my work. That was my work to do, to make Larry, to elevate his game, because if I elevated his game, I was going to make my game better.
And it clearly took more than one person to actually build a championship team. And basketball is more of a team sport, not an individual.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's how the game is. I mean, you look at the 5 guys who are out there, the guys on the bench, the collection that you have. Not only that, the coaching, but if you have guys who, for me, who were just killers on the floor. Robert Parrish gets not enough credit for who he was as a player. Kevin McHale gets credit being in the Hall of Fame. Robert's in the Hall of Fame. Johnson is in the Hall of Fame. So I think you had those collection of guys who played really well, and Bill Fitch turned out to be a Hall of Fame coach. So I mean, you have all these guys, and I just love who they are as people.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cedric, I want to thank you for your time today, and stay safe out there, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
Well, thank you very much. But before I let you go, I have a question for you that I asked. Here's my question to you. Give me your Mount Rushmore of sports. You got 4 people, Mount Rushmore. You can pick all of them in the same sport. You can do whatever you want to do, but give me your 4 that you would put on your Mount Rushmore if you were building in front of your house right now.
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Tom Brady. Bill Russell.
Okay. That 4th one always is a killer.
And then I have one more.
Yeah, you have one more. I said the 4th was always the killer.
It is. Oh wow. Wow. So Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Tom Brady. I'm trying to think of other sports too. I'm not just trying to stick with it. That's what's so hard about this.
Well, I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna give you mine, and then that will help you. Mine was Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and then I went a little different. I went with what I think is the greatest female athlete of all time, and I went with Serena Williams.
Oh wow, I like that. That's a good list, actually. I really like that. Actually,
but you can't be wrong at all. Okay, so you got to just come up. Who's going to be your 4th one?
I'd have to go with Muhammad Ali as well because of how great he was and how he impacted the boxing world.
Okay, all right. Well, that's it. Now, I always ask that question to most people, and they just going, "Oh my God!" Then I asked them, because you're from Connecticut, I'll ask you one more. Okay. Give me a Mount Rushmore of sports in Boston.
Sports in Boston. Okay, so definitely Tom Brady, Larry Bird, Bobby Orr, and Bill Russell.
Okay. And I always say, and the one thing I challenged, I said, man, how could you not put your one of the best baseball players, Ted Williams?
Ted Williams. Oh my!
Because you got the Ted Williams tone, man. You got the drive through. To get to Boston. I think you just froze up, my friend. Yeah. Well, anyway, you have a good one. It was good talking to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.